So I think it's starting to look better already. This brown is also a translucent brown. It's burnt umber rather than brown. I don't think those are really going to be hanging down there. Hopefully I can wipe them off. See, it's going to be easier to just paint blue around patches of leaves. And I'm hoping so anyway. I'm going to have to use the very thin edge of the brush. As little paint as possible. Avoid making thick clumps. And there could have been a branch there. The brown definitely helped to move things along, and what I did is I also dragged the branches off the actual acrylic pour into the blue so that they would look a bit more natural. And the trunk is now interesting because it's got all the colours underneath it and the brown on top, and I just sculpted the tree a bit more realistically. And so now I just need to decide whether to outline some of the leaves in red or blue. I'll start with blue and see how that goes, and if it doesn't work then I could use gold, but there's already gold in there, so I don't want to. That's going to be confusing. It has to be a different colour, so I mean there is dark blue in there, there's pink, there's cerise. I think the light blue, this blue would be the best, so that's what I'll start with. I added some more tiny branches in brown, and I tried with blue. I filled in some sort of sky holes in the mixture of the blue and whatever colours I had on the brush, and I can't say I liked it very much. There seems to be enough blue already, so now I've got some sap green on my brush, and I'm going to try and outline some leaves in the sap green, just checking where it's dry. So I might have to, short of leaving it just as it is and letting the leaves just be in the background, if I actually want to shape leaves, I'm going to have to lose some of the colour, which is a pity. That's kind of defeating the whole purpose. So let's see how this works. Well, it's not working out exactly as I planned, not at all. So I realised the painting is just too small, and so it's just, the leaves are just disproportional. If I painted around them, there's so little left of the painting underneath that you just won't see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just paint in, as I've done there, a few sap green leaves here and there, and leave the rest as background of leaves. And you know, it's just going to be one of those abstract paintings where there's a lot in the painting, in the background, and not get too fussed about it. And when I do deliberate blowouts, where I deliberately blow things out, with the intention of forming something, then I will use a larger canvas and definitely blow out something that could form a tree more meaningfully. But I mean, all is not lost. It still forms an interesting backdrop for a tree. I think I'll wipe those away if I can still. And each painting is learning experience, and some outcomes are delightful and others less so. But it's not bad. I think it's, considering it's a canvas that's actually been reused so many times that it's cracked. And that's what happens when you experiment. And I think if you're an artist and you don't experiment, then you're going to just be dull. And you're going to just always be copying other people instead of, coming up with your own ideas. So we can't exactly reinvent the wheel, but certainly I have had some original ideas like this one that no one else has come up with. So I think we can apply our minds and come up with some surprising things. And it's definitely not what I had in mind, but I've had lots of successes with flowers and birds, and a forest is going to just be something different. It's probably going to require, like I said, larger canvases, not necessarily paintings that have been deliberately poured out. I have got a large canvas that I could use, which has a nice bloom on it. So I don't know if I want to necessarily lose that one, but because I have very few left that I blew out as blooms, so I do want to keep a few. But this way I'm adding green and still having a lovely multicolored background. I continued to put little green leaves all over, and then I added some brown, and I really didn't like the effect, but then I left it and it dried overnight, and the next day I tried to remove some of it with a wet wipe, which again was a big mistake. Even with acrylic, it definitely took some of the colour off the canvas and damaged some of the painting underneath. So if you don't do it when it's wet, it's a big mistake to leave it to dry out. So now I've decided, after all that, to just use red, which is transparent, and to just put sort of abstract outlines of leaves, bunches of leaves, not single leaves. And it's not working terribly well, because like I said, the canvas is somewhat messed up. But I'm just going to have to put it down to experience. This was a canvas which was an experiment,